All right, we're live. Philosopher hour. I have no idea. Big brain time. Yes. Yeah. I mean, for this specific topic, which we'll be discussing, which is happiness versus success, I feel like we should give a little bit of a backstory too. No. Um, for the past few episodes, like every time we talk to, like people that have more accolades and things like that, we that question just naturally comes up when we talked about it with Richard Hahn, and we discussed that as well. So I feel like it's also good to get, I guess, our inputs on that as well. All right, this guy's just full on drinking. Oh my gosh. Production possibilities frontier. Well, actually, you gotta think about the indifference curves too. Like just you gotta. I would say that it'd probably be like a solid 60, 70 when it comes to success and happiness. Well, because we've seen it in multiple like mainstream media that it doesn't matter how much like success you have. You have like all these celebrities, you have all these people who have reached so many heights professionally, but they still feel empty inside and like they feel like they haven't achieved anything at the end of the day. Okay. 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 I would actually like think of it otherwise. Like I feel like all right guys, episode's over. Thank you very much for listening. No, but like wouldn't it be that happiness is the drive that gets you to be successful? Like it's not about like what you there was a saying, I don't know what it was. Like it's not about what you have, but it's about like wh- how much you make, but what it's more about like using the resources that you have to your advantage. And if you're genuinely happy with what you have, then you can use that to like reach new heights. So your sheer happiness is what drives you to be more successful, you know? Okay. Mm-hmm. Whatever, who cares? Mm-hmm. Hmm. Okay. I think it's something that you can constantly have because I feel like what you're describing when you're something more like joy, for example, like you're always looking for that sense of joy, that kind of high feeling that, oh, I got that promotion, I got this thing, like, whatever, I'm gonna have a kid or something like that, but happiness could be that underlying thing that no matter what happens, maybe you lose your job, maybe something more unfortunate happens, you still have that sense of happiness that keeps you going, right? Like everyone has crappy days, everyone goes through different hardships in life. Yeah, just absolutely ride the wave, just like GameStop shares, but 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 yeah, like literally just it doesn't need to be something that is continuous joy and like smiling and singing kumbaya every single day of your life, but it's just like having that understanding that, you know, things will get difficult, but you are still happy nevertheless. So, so you're just describing me right now? Okay, all right. Okay. Honestly, I think it's more subjective because there may be some people that can just be fine with, I don't know, living in a tent and getting by with what they have, as long as they're doing. Yeah, as long, like for example, I don't know about you, but like I'm not trying to be caking in money. Like my sheer goal in life is not to have amount like insane amounts of riches that I don't like. I don't even I can't even think about it anymore. It's just like enough for me to get by, and maybe I'm not as successful in the eyes of other people, but my definition of success is that, and that's gonna make me happy at the end of the day too. I think I just like counter art, like I just did my own. I counter argued myself there, but yeah, yeah. She broke. I'm up. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, because go ahead, go ahead. No, I feel like those if then statements are kind of dumb because the ceiling that you put for yourself, once you reach that, then that becomes the ground floor for the next thing, and it will always be that. Like, it's one thing to be ambitious and to reach success, and to like want to gain all of these other accolades, but it's another thing to have an like sickening obsession about that, to the point that like one is never satisfied, you know, to that extent. Oh yeah, eat shit and work. Intensive, yeah. To reap what you sowed, yeah. Well, yeah, because everyone else has their own definition of happiness. I like, I don't know who said this. I think it was Kanye West. I think, uh, it was uh, like having money isn't everything, but not having it is. So like at this point in our lives, like most of us are what 18 at 18 to 23. We don't really have life figured out, and we shouldn't, of course. Like it's not like we're yeah, of course, it's easy. Good for you. Oh, that's cute. Um, but like we want to pursue that whole sense of like, oh, I want to get this position and I want to get this job so that I can make this certain amount of money and all that because we don't have money at this point. Like we don't have like that sense of independence for ourselves that we are making our own sense, like our own source of revenue. Yeah, we can maybe come from like a wealthy family, or you can come from like a whatever, but like that's not your money. That's like someone else's. That's someone else's work that you're just using to your advantage to a certain extent. But then at some point that runs out. You don't want to be like 40 something, or like 50 something, living under your parents' basement, and like still living off of daddy and mommy and daddy's money. It's true, man. Two business kids just question their whole major. The next day they drop out. Yeah, just do it. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, but at the same time, like you gotta understand that nothing in this life is like comes free. So, um, having that like sometimes putting your head down and working or whatever, it's like you prolong that quote unquote pain for a certain extent to reach that happiness, that reach that like kind of like happiness that quote unquote everyone wants to reach, right? And that's why we often fall into that whole if then statement, right? Because during those times of like hardship, say for example, like you're working two jobs, or you can't make ends meet, what you want like out of life at that moment is I just want to have enough money to like treat myself and not worry about like tomorrow, like next month's rent, right? And that like that's your happiness at that point, right? But I feel like we as human beings are never satisfied, right? So at some once, if hypothetically we get to that point, then like the next, sorry, my brother walked in, then I just lost my train of thought. Like as soon as they get to that point, then they're like, okay, what's next? What am I gonna do next? What am I gonna do next? Right? So, and then it's just that never ending cycle, and then that's up until a certain point. You just you know Shut the fuck up. I wonder like if there's any like new listeners that just like are listening to this and are like, yeah, this guy's a dick. Like, yeah, 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 yeah. Like I do agree with that. The whole like mindset mentality, and with the whole thing that you said about like, oh, Wall Street man turns surfer or whatever. I feel like that's because, as I said, like us human beings, we're never satisfied. So that whole what if, like we always want to like cross it off, right? So for example, if someone, say that Wall Street man decided to go on that surfer career path from the beginning, then at some point in their lives, maybe a little earlier, maybe a little like later, they would have thought, "Damn, what if I stayed? What if I stayed in my what if I stayed at Shoe? Like say for example, like I quit, like I don't know, I just drop out tomorrow and then I just go and perform. Yeah, no one wants to have regrets in life, right? So that's the whole thing. So there will never be there's always the two sides of the coin, right? So the surfer maybe has that underlying like craving and kind of like what if mentality for the business aspect, and then that businessman is thinking the same thing but for the other aspect of his life that he or her life that they never actually got to experience, right? So Mhm. What if I study marketing? Let's say, what if I study marketing? All right. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. It's done. Yeah. Yeah. Gosh. Honestly, dog. Like, yeah, bro. If like, yeah. So where were we before you completely annihilated my sense of worth? Oh, you're kidding? Oh, I wasn't. I just regret every single second. Man, I can't even say his name. I mean, yeah, he's been like, yeah, like the more, I don't know. It's like that, bro. We're just spewing absolute garbage for people to listen to. But I feel like the more you look for something, the harder it is to find it. Like, you know, that whole like cliche in freaking rom coms or like sitcoms where like the main character's like, "Oh, I'm done dating." Like, I'm not gonna look for anyone again, and then they meet like the character that makes them fall in love like head over heels. Like, that's kind of like the whole thing with like, I don't know, happiness, I guess, because when you get to a certain extent in which you have completely lost focus of finding that happiness, and you start, you know, reaching all, trying to like get all these other achievements so that you can have that like appraisal from like other people. That's when you start to realize like, shit, this is not what I want. And that's when you start to finally like understand what happiness means for you, not for like anybody else, but for you. So, and we're still unhappy. That's the and we're still unhappy. We're just down bad. It all started when yeah. 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 I feel like that's something that I did a lot, like in high school. Obviously, um, at some point, I wanted to, like, my parents wanted me to become a dentist, and like really considered it because I was like waiting for that approval of like people to be like, oh, yeah, I know, man, got that GGS brace face, bro. Anyways, but yeah, so like, and I remember that when I finally like got into Schulich or whatever, my first kind of thought was, I mean, after that, yay, like I got in, whatever, was like when people ask me like, oh, where are you going? I would have been like I like stand up straight, like super tall and shit, like I'm going to the Shuli School of Business or whatever, and it's like, yeah, like, okay, sick. You're getting your bachelor's degree, dog. Like, it's at the end of the day, we often do that just to get the, oh, he's going to Schulich. Oh, she's going to Schulich. Oh, what an amazing young lad that will have a bright future ahead of him or her, you know? But it's like then that person leaves and then you're stuck with your thoughts. Like, if this happened to me, like I was working, I was at work like before things closed down. I work at a retail store, and then someone came in, we talked for a little bit. I was helping them out choose like pants or something. I don't remember. And they asked me where I was going, and I said I go to York. And they go like, "Oh yeah, whatever. Like that's nice." And then they asked me what I was studying, and then I said, "Oh, I study business at Schulich." And like the shift in her face, like you could tell that it's like oh damn, like oh, hot shot over here. Like this guy has a massive hog, like you know, and um and like at the moment, like when I talked to her and then when she left and I cashed her out, she like bought whatever. I felt good. I was like, yay, like it's good. But then I thought about it and I'm like this doesn't add any value to me, you know. I remember I was talking to someone for like my CPA project in like Management 1000, and they said something that really resonated with me. That was like at the end of the day, the one that goes to sleep with your decisions is you. Once you go to that bed and you start dwelling in your thoughts, no one's gonna praise you for whatever you did. Either you're satisfied with what you did or you're not, and that's up to you. So yeah, like yeah, exactly. I could have shoot. Like, So like above that. Yeah. What like yeah. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna say something that I haven't said. I think I only told my dad this, and it's just a wise idea to say it to you and just to the 20 people listening. Um, but like when I got in, like when I got, because I got in late. I think I got in like in May or something. Um, so I was already gone into my other two choices, but my mind was just like, no, like I need to get in, like I need to get into Schulich. Like I'm not gonna be happy unless I get into Schulich. Like my life's gonna be, I'm gonna be a sad like sack of garbage if I don't get into Schulich. And then yeah, exactly. No, like no, I was just like working. Like I was at the library studying, and I got an email and a check on it, and I got in. And like I was trying to force myself to be like, oh my god, like great, pop the champagne, yo, like I made it, like we make it out the hood with this one. But I looked at it and I'm like, oh, great, put it back down, and I'm like, oh wait, I need to be happy about this. I need to be joyful about this. I need to like jump out the window and like you know do backflips like in front of the street. So I remember I texted my friend, like I sent her like a voice message, and I'm like, hey, like I got into Shoe Lake, like, and I try to act like I force myself to act like excited and overly joyful. And um, I remember I was talking to my dad in the car a couple of days later, and he was telling me about like he's excited that I got into Shoe Lake and things like that. And I just told him, I'm like, Dad, like I don't know if there's something wrong with me, but when I got in, I didn't feel like anything. I just felt like it's just, and I'm glad that I like no disrespect to Shoe like whatsoever, and like I'm glad that I am where I am because I get to meet so many great people, and I've done like things that I wouldn't have done otherwise. Like I wouldn't have. I don't think I would have done this if it wasn't for like getting into Shoe like and meeting you and meeting the team, and also like just I know. And I think this is probably one of the most unfortunate events in my life, but um no, but like honestly, like here I am now, and I enjoy what I'm doing, but that specific moment that I had built up for so long since like grade 9, or like I mean I came to Canada in grade 7 knowing that I had to get into university because that was the plan. And once in grade 9 I put my eyes on Schulich, like that was like the holy grail of absolute fulfillment. And then you got it, and it didn't do anything, you know. Exactly. I mean, yeah, you have to choose that. It's a choice. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Check up on us like 5 years later. But yeah, like I just look at it like that. I mean, from my perspective at least, I'm like a believer in the Catholic faith, so I do face a lot of my like happiness and like that aspect and connection with God. But there are other people that have other aspects of like that they feel that fulfills them, you know. and it doesn't need to be like achievement based or what you do. It's not what you do. Like your identity is not what you do, and I can't stress that enough. Like when people go into like, oh, like who are you? Oh, I'm an accountant that works at TD, and I have worked in capital markets, and I've done that. That's the first thing that they say. No disrespect to accountants and finance people. We love you very much, and you guys are very great. The person that gave me that advice with the you go to sleep and you live with your own decisions was a finance like girl, and she said that she didn't think she was gonna end up in finance, but she found a passion for it, and like she loves finance, and like it's great. Exactly. So just experiment and do things that you love, and you'll find happiness there.